Here's a good one. 0.28. Do you have a thicker one?
I do.
Not greater than 0.5.
What? Greater than 0.5?
No, between 0.3 and 0.5.
Well, this one, what's this one at? Okay.
All right. Maybe the ink is very spotty.
Try one of the other colors, although sometimes
did.
they have issues. So let me see what I've got.
Yeah.
How about this? This has really good reliability.
Pencil?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if my sound's gonna work. Hey, would you say something?
Something.
One works better than two. Okay.
It's the 10th, isn't it?
It is so the 10th.
So,
So what? Batons. And you read through the whole APT Cam installation paper?
not this one. I need a straight edge.
Okay, that we have many. Tell me more.
This says straight edge. A 12-inch steel rule is normally okay, and it
Okay.
looks like the application is used as a straight edge across the side of both gears to check for alignment.
Well, that means you're going to need some gears.
And this plate is installed.
Yeah, the plate needs to be installed. The plate installed with the gasket, tightened down,
So I need to take this off?
and then
Why?
why what?
Why do I need the plate installed? What's the difference?
Well, because once we have the cam timing all worked out, you'll have the sprocket on there. You'll have the sprocket on down here. You'll probably have the tensioner installed so that that chain is nice and tight on the drive side because it's held tight by the sprocket. And then at that point, you're not going to want to take all that stuff off to fit the plate on because the plate goes on before those things.
But why do I need those things at all?
Well, you're going to hook up a sprocket right here on the crankshaft in order to rotate the chain, and then the cam, you're going to have a sprocket on that in order for it to be rotated by the chain. And so that when you turn this crank and move it up and move the piston up and down, you're going to get the camshaft to move at half crank speed, and you can figure out if the cam is pushing up on the lobe of the whichever one, number one exhaust valve or whatever it is.
So what was the point of setting this up?
Well, the point in setting this up was just to make sure that we could set it up, and we had a system wherein we could find top dead center, which it looks like we can, and certainly you're probably going to want to do a little bit more precise measurement to make sure that all this stuff is right. But,
More.
well, is it within half a degree, do you think?
Mm.
So, like, wiggle that thing back and forth and just look at this gauge and see if you can determine exactly where TDC is. And then check on the,
It's within 1,000.
and then check, once you've got it like your best life, then you can check down here and see what's what. And how close were you?
3 degrees. But I didn't
Okay.
have this coordinated correctly.
Okay, no, that's fine. You can just play with it a while longer, and then eventually we're going to want to set it up really carefully, and the last thing we'll do is get that set.
Okay. So I need to get all those fasteners and bolts and stuff. Done?
Yeah.
I need to take this off. Is there a better way to take this off than just pulling it?
There is not. I mean, you could hammer it if you want it, but I think if you just do what you're doing, it'll come off.
Should I hammer it on?
Well, once you get the nut on there, you're actually going to be driving it on quite far. It's not actually necessary to use the nut to drive it. It just makes it easier because you can use a big socket if that matters.
You're saying with the bolt inside,
Yeah, the nut. Or, yeah, I guess it is a bolt, isn't it?
it'll, as I screw it down, it'll push the harmonic balancer.
It will. Yeah. As you tighten that bolt, it'll draw that pulley.
Oh,
down.
are you insinuating we're going to use the power tool?
We may need to use the power tool if we can't stop the engine from rotating easily otherwise. It wouldn't be a crime.
Stop the engine from rotating easily.
Right.
As we try and manually do it?
Yeah, I mean, you just use the inertia of the rotating components to your advantage.
To overcome
Yeah. Now, this wouldn't be the final time that we put the crank pulley on, because the crank pulley is going to need to go on after the timing cover, your favorite part. And in order to get the timing cover ready to go on, the crank pulley has to be off. But we need to be able to see the chain and the sprockets and make adjustments to the big adjustable cam sprocket. And all that requires that the timing cover be not installed.
Okay, well, I'll go and get the bolts and stuff.
Yeah, and then we'll just bolt this thing on. And we actually don't have to paint it right now. We could gasket glue it, stick it on there, fasten it all down nice and proper, and then do all this work, and then bolt the timing cover on, and then bolt the crank pulley on. And we can do that all the way around the engine. We can get the whole engine bolted together, and then we can come through and we can paint it complete.
Okay, I'm not sure where the gear or the chain are.
That's fine. I can go help you go look for those. Probably we're going to need to do a full, fresh inventory, because we're either going to be taking all those parts or using all those parts. We're going to be taking all of the parts, but we're going to use each of the parts or take them when we go down. So now is a good time to make sure that we have our full inventory. And it'll help us determine if there are other things that we need to buy, which likely there are. So I'm going to pause this.